Hey everybody, it's Jeff Finn here, CEO of RealNex with Tim Cray, our lead developer, and we are delighted to have you with us once again for That's Cray Cray, where Tim will bring us up to speed on all the latest and greatest advancements to the platform. I know the team's been doing quite a bit of work in Market Edge in particular, bringing a lot of advancements to that with regard to the editability, the flexibility of the design editor to make even more elegant presentations and proposals, flyers, BOVs, and offering memorandum. Great new updates to the financial screens, landscape views, and some of the things coming are retail and business maps that we might get a sneak preview of. I know there's a lot more, Tim, that the team's been working on, and probably some sneak previews of things that you may not even share with me. I know you're always busy making progress and like to surprise us. So thank you again for joining us and for your uh, contributions and suggestions to the advancements of the RealNex platform, and look forward to your continued suggestions and recommendations on how we continue to progress the platform. So let me turn it over to Tim. We will get into some of his presentation, be open to dialogue with you through the chat feature or the questions on the right side of the screen. We'll be glad to address them as we go along or at the back end of the presentation. So, Tim, let me turn over the controls to you and we will get rolling.
Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to start off with the RealNex core product, the CRM, and show you a couple of things that we're doing, and also give you some tips on how to use some of the functionality that you may or may not know is there. And if you know it's there, you may not know how to use it. So one of the things that I added to the desktop many years ago for properties and units and sale comps were what we call amenities. Sometimes in those particular products, there are so many things you want to track, there just aren't enough fields for the information. So even though RealNex CRM has so many fields available, you can still come across things that you think, shoot, I wish I could track this. And that's what amenities are for. So on this screen, you can see there's a bunch of details about the property. But up here at the top, we have a little thing called amenities. And what that lets you do is create your own fields, basically. So you can just add fields to the database right here. Give the field a name, let's say security and 24/7. And they just show up right in a row up here at the top. As many as you want, so there's no limit to what you put in here. And each property has its own set of amenities. If you want to get rid of an amenity, you just click the X and get rid of it. If you want to edit an amenity, you just click it and you can edit it. So think of it as a way that you can add your own fields to properties or sale comps or units where they're used quite a bit because there just can be so much information. Last month in my CRM tip, we talked about timelines, which are a very important part of contact management in general, but certainly even more important when you get into property management, managing your properties and that stuff, which is beyond what a CRM does. And one of the reasons that people like to use our product is because we integrate properties, tenants, spaces, everything in one product. So the timeline idea was that if you were working on a project, say a closing, and you had to schedule things, it's difficult to do because you have to schedule, say, 30 things, and you have to schedule those with 8 different people. And that's what timelines are for. You create a template. Think of it like you create a template for a mail merge where you'd write a letter, but you don't actually send it until you're ready. Then you get 10 people and you mail merge their names into the letter and they all get it. That's what a timeline is. In this case, it's much more robust. So I could say, okay, I want to create a timeline and I want to set up a purchase and sale agreement. What you would have to do on your own is create 30 different activities, schedule them with different people, and it takes a long time. With the timeline template, you just say go. That automatically creates, in this case, 30 different things that have to happen for a closing. It automatically attached 5 to escrow, 3 to title, 2 to my legal, 6 to my accounting, 18 to my associate. Everybody got their calendars filled up with this closing, gave me a nice view of a timeline that I could print out and give to my my seller or buyer or whoever I want to give it to. As things get finished on this, they automatically get checked off so you can see that they're done. And they all went to my calendar. So that means they went to my phone and my Outlook and whatever I'm syncing to, all my calendars, and so did my associate's calendar and so on get filled up. So timelines are just a great way to create multiple events at one time without doing any extra work, just clicking a button. If you missed that, you should watch the webinar from last time and see how I did it. This month I want to talk about building your comps database. One of the things that I did when I was in brokerage is I took it to heart that I had better information than people who were buying it. So you can pay $10,000 a year, or you could pay some fee to a company to get comp information. The same comp information everybody else has. So you're all on the same playing field. You're all even. The data is marginal, 30% accurate. It's the best that you can get when you're a public agency trying to ask brokers to tell you about a deal that they worked hard to do and don't want to tell you about it. But as a broker myself, I could get much better information in my community by calling one of my associates and saying what happened on this deal, and I would track it in the CRM. What I thought would be even better is how could I create a comp database myself that had very accurate information. I'm not going to track every single deal. I'm tracking the deals that are relevant, that I'm going to use when I go out and try to get a listing to say, here's what happened in the community. This is what everybody else will tell you. This is the generic version that everybody pays for, but it's not accurate. This is what really happened. So I wanted a quick way to create comps. And here's how you do it using Core. You have a property in here and you've been putting the information in about the property, whatever information you have. And you want to go in and create a comp with that. So let me open up one in production. I was in the test staging. Let me go where you guys are. From the property, any space as well. So you can create lease comps or sale comps. Go to the property and hit the button that says add to comps. There'll be one in spaces as well. When you do that, it automatically takes a snapshot of the property and creates a sale comp for you. So you don't have to do any extra work. It copied everything over, and it also copied over the information about the seller, so you don't have to do that. And it linked the sale comp back to the property. Is all you have to do is fill in the information such as what was the date of the sale, what was the price, and if you need to change things, you can. But this is a sale comp, so this is historical. Once you create this comp, you don't have to change it again. It's a snapshot of time, so it doesn't update. You don't go back and add more to it. It's what it was when it sold, or what it was when it was a space, or what the tenant was when they leased it. You can do this so quickly and build up your comps database so that you have accurate comps with very little effort. You see how it just created that comp for me and all of the information. And I just go back and change my property to the new owner. It's doing the same thing from spaces. It works exactly the same way, except spaces create a lease comp. So a lease comp can either be for a tenant you're tracking, or it could be for the space. Depends on what your need is. But you just open up the space, hit add to comps. It automatically takes all the information from the space, puts it into a lease comps, and links it back to the space or to the tenant. So you have that information available too. And very quickly you can build up, especially if you have a team, 2 to 3 people on your team, or if you have an office, 17, 30 people, you can build up a great comps database, much better than you can buy, and you don't have to pay for it. So you might play with that a little bit, and the comps are right here. Lease comps is this button right here, and sale comps is this button right next to it. You can open those up and run reports for those. Let's take a look at Market Edge. We've done some pretty cool things in Market Edge, and some stuff that's coming up that's even cooler. Next month, I'll show you something that's coming up in the CRM for those of you that are avid CRM users. I'm not going to show it to you. I'm going to tell you about it. You can go into any record, like a contact, and from that record, you can scroll through the records here up at the top right. You can just hit scroll and move through them. If you're editing something at the bottom of the record, you notice here at the top, it has menu and it has records you can scroll through, 9, 45, you can go to 10, 11, 12. But watch that bar as I move down. It moves off the screen. So if I'm trying to edit the fields down here in the user section, in order to go to the next record, I have to go back up, hit next, go back down, make an edit, go back up. See, that's not that bad, but here's what we're doing. We're locking this right on the top of the screen. So this bar won't move. As you scroll down, that bar will stay there. So you can go to a certain section of the page, I'm trying to update this field, hit next, and just update the field and just keep going. We're also adding a list view to the cards section. What's a list view? List view is a different way to look at it, record. Some people call it a grid view. This is a list. I can define what fields are in my list, and in the version that's coming out next month, this list can stay on the screen with the cards. So if you can imagine this card would have a list right here on the left that you could drive the cards with, and you'd still see the card. So that enables me to go to a specific screen, like I'm updating vendor information, and I can use the list and query the list to go to records in the list and then just update the fields. What we're trying to do is make it much quicker for you to update information when you're in the mode of updating, instead of spending a lot of time opening and closing windows like this. Then once it closes, opening the next one, making a change, and then so on and so forth. So those are some things I can tell you are coming next month that we're pretty excited about. Back to Market Edge. In Market Edge, last month I showed you the new cover pages that we designed. These are all free cover pages you get. We give you a ton of them. Pick any one you want, and it automatically applies it to the package you're designing. If you don't know what Market Edge is, it's a way to put in information about a property and analyze the property, as well as create a package that you can send out to people. It could be a flyer, so it could just be a cover page that has all the information on it, or it could be a full package with all of the details about the property and including analysis. We also talked about the fact that now you can edit the fields on the screen just by clicking fields, and you can type in whatever you want. It comes with the information pre-filled from the property, but you can just go in and retype it. It also has a spell checker in it. So if it sees a word it doesn't recognize, it'll underline it, and it'll tell you you missed a P in opportunity. If I right click on that, it gives me the spelling and puts it in automatically. So for people that, like me, that don't have an easy time spelling words, it's a real help. I talked a little bit too about the new logo library. You can add logos to the page really easily now. Here's a logo. I can just click the logo and it comes up with a logo library. Now this would be your logos, these are just ones I use for my sales pitches and things, but your logos would be in here. You'd say, why do I only have one logo? Well, maybe you have a version of the logo that's lighter and a version that's darker. Like we have a RealNex logo that's white. Well, that's not going to work on this page very well because that's not a very dark background. But if I went to a page that had a really dark background on it, I'm guessing here, it might be helpful to have a white logo so it shows up. So we added that in, and it's live. You can use it right now. But what we didn't have was the ability to do that on the secondary pages. Secondary pages are like property summary. These are what we call secondary pages, meaning that they're not the cover page. And they all have a logo, but you couldn't change it. We've added the option under the option button here to change the logo. So you can pull up a logo now and you can put in a different logo on your secondary pages. Maybe you have a smaller logo you want to use, or maybe once again, you have a different colored logo that works better on the secondary pages with your footer. That's under the options button, and it just says proposal logo. When I change the footer, I can also change the colors. So let's say I want the footer to be navy. In this package, I'm changing the footer, but this doesn't affect any of my other packages. It's only this one package. So I can have control over what my colors look like now on every proposal. You can also set your default colors for the company. So every time you create a proposal, it comes up with the default colors, but you have the option of changing them if you want to on a specific proposal. You can see much clearer on this one how it's a little difficult to see the RealNex logo because it's dark blue. Well, this is one of those places where changing the logo really does help a lot, changing it to white. And that means that on every page now, I'll have that nice clean white logo that I can see, or my clients can see. The other thing that we've done in this recent edition is allow you to change the proposal contact. Previously, whoever created this package, which in this case was me, you see at the bottom here it says Tim Cray, I couldn't change that. So if I was a marketing assistant for 4 or 5 brokers and I'm creating all their proposals for them, it went out with my name on it. So what you can do now is you can go to options and you can say proposal contacts, and you can change the primary contact to one of the brokers in your office. That enables my marketing assistant to do this work for me, setting up these packages, and still put my name on it just by clicking anybody in this list. And you see now Matt Smith becomes the primary agent on this proposal. Handy if you're in a bigger company and you've got a lot of people that you're having to work for and take care of their information. Let me show you some stuff that we're working on for this next month, and I think you're gonna, if you like to put out packages, I think you're gonna really like this update. One of the things that we're adding is the ability to do landscape or portrait packages. Right now they're portrait, and you can see that in this case, these are all portrait pictures. Let me open up a different proposal and I'll show you what I mean. Under the development tab, and we're also in the same time, I'm taking the opportunity to rewrite these reports so they're even more presentable and much nicer looking. All the information is laid out really clean. All the fonts are clean. They're all spaced the same. But you can see that these are still portrait. So this is what you see now. Let's go take a look at what happens in the new one. Look at the same package. In this case, it's advantageous for me to look at this proposal in landscape mode. So what you can do is up here at the top under options is change from portrait to landscape. And that automatically changes all the pages in your report to landscape. Same exact stuff you just saw a second ago in production, except now you're noticing that things are turned to landscape. If you want to go to portrait, you can do that in any report. Just go back to options and say, I want portrait on this proposal. Now here's the same pages again, except everything's portrait. pretty cool. It's going to be really, really useful. I know, because people have asked me, Tim, can you give us landscape for these packages? Sometimes we need that. We've also updated it so that you can do the maps, landscape and portrait. And so if I go into, say, regional map, and they're editable on the screen. This map is, I used to, in the one that you're using, in the production one, there's a button that says edit. You have to hit edit and then you can manage the map. Now it's all live. So I can move the map around and it's a live map. So it's actually regenerating the map as I move. I can resize the map. I can zoom in on the map. I can change to take the labels off. I can go to a regular street view or show terrain, all right on the pictures. For all of the maps, you can do that. And as a matter of fact, for all of the pages, you'll be able to do that. Every page you'll be able to edit right on the page. No more edit buttons. And here's something that I can barely show you because we've just started doing it. It's called Business Map. Business Map is the ability to show a map like we just did, show a certain area, like I could show within a quarter of a mile of my property, or I could show within a mile, or I could show within 5 miles. I can put rings on the map, show me this is 5 miles, this is 3, this is 1, so on. I can go up here and select business types. So let's say supermarkets, and search. It shows me all the supermarkets within 5 miles. I can click them and it puts them on the map for me. I can drag them around. I can add logos to them. I can also create a map with the regular standard dots that have numbers in them and a key down below. So it says supermarket 99 branch, 2 miles from the property. I can also do keywords. So if I'm looking for specific properties, I don't want to go through a whole list. I can just type in the name of a building, the name of a regional mall, whatever, anything at all. It's not limited to retail. It's any business type that you want. All of them are listed in here, and you can switch between. So I did supermarkets. Now I want to go up and find nightclubs. Supermarkets stay there unless I remove them, and I can start adding the nightclubs on the list. That's something that we're just working on now. It's not going to be live for about 3 weeks, but it's coming, and we think it's going to be something that will really help people. Let me show you a tip on something you can do right now in Market Edge. One of the things that I was doing was, depending on my marketing purposes, I might not want to send out a giant package. So I added a button called Templates. Templates is right here. You can, and as all a template is what tiles are in your package. The tiles over here on the left that say cover sheet, development, lease versus buy, those are tiles. So I just want to do a simple flyer. So I go to templates and I pick flyer and say load. And notice it changes the tiles to just the tiles that I've included in a flyer. There's only 4 tiles. Its flyers are pretty small. Maybe you only have 1. Maybe it's all you have in your tile is a cover sheet, and that cover sheet has a whole bunch of information on it. So you don't even have to send out any other pages at all. It's up to you. But the idea behind templates, it's so nice, is you can just create these tiles like a comparative analysis, which has a lot more tiles in it, and load it. And that loads the tiles. To create a template, you drop the tiles over here on the left. You do that by just going to available reports, pulling a tile up, dropping it where you want it. And once you get the tiles all ordered the way you want, you go to templates, you give it a name, and you say save. There, I just added a new template to my library. Now, anytime I want to use that template, I just go to templates, pull down the list, pick my template and say load, and it automatically sets everything up for me. So there's no limit to how many different templates you can have, and those templates carry through on every single record, every property that you have. So you can use the templates anywhere you go. These are all editable, as I said now. So that's new for you. For some of you that have used the old package that REI-wise, you can have, you could have 5 bullet points. Now you can have as many as you want to type in here as fit on the page. So we remove those restrictions from that. And as I said, the colors can all be changed very easily. And you got a ton of different cover pages. You also, if you don't like any of the ones I created, you can have us build them for you. So these are all custom ones I built for different companies. And they just match whatever they want for the look and feel of their package. So you can call us and get those built for you if you want. How am I doing on time, Jeff? Do I have more time, or am I boring everybody?
Yeah, you've kept everyone's attention, Tim. Keep going if you got more.
I just want to show you one other thing, because I had a couple of calls this week from some of my older clients. I mean, not that they're old, but they've been using REA for 24 years or more. And they were asking me how they can create lists to market to. They want to create a prospect suspect list. And so I'm going to show you how to do that, because it's really powerful. If you're not using the CRM, then I guess you don't care. But if you're using the CRM, this is something you should wake up for, because it's very, very helpful. What I wanted to do is, and I was selling properties, so I'm going to give you an example as a buyer rep, but this works for anything you do. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Tenant rep, buyer rep, seller, leasing agent, doesn't make any difference. I have a property that I want to sell I want to buy a property for my client. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to find properties, or if I were looking for buyers, I would want to find contacts and make a list. Then I want to contact all those people and see if they're interested. But I need to keep track of who's interested and who's not, and that's where it's difficult in the CRMs that are out there. And so I specifically built REA to do that. I'll probably say REA for the rest of my life, right? I wrote this in 1980. 38 years. I can't stop saying REA, but it's RealNex CRM. Okay, so here's the pattern. First off, I have to create 2 groups. Okay, in this case, let's just say, because this is probably something everyone would do, I'm going to try and sell a building. I don't imagine if I offered you a listing for my building, $34 million building, even if you were a leasing agent, you would say no. So let's use that example, as everyone is happy to sell a building and get a $250,000 commission. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to tools and I'm going to create 2 groups. The building that I'm trying to sell is Three Flags Plaza. Okay, so I create a group called Three Flags Prospects and Three Flags Suspects. Suspects to me are people that I suspect are interested, but I don't know. Prospects are people that have told me they're interested. What I want to do then is I want to take all the people that I think are potential buyers for this building. So I do filters. I say I want investors looking for office park, 30,000 to 50,000, and I get a list. And let's say that this is my list right down here that you're looking at now. I check the box to get them all selected, and I say add them to a group. What group do I want to add them to? I want to add them to Three Flags Suspects. Why? Because I suspect they're interested, but I don't know yet. Great. Okay, they just all got added. Now what I want to do is have my assistant call them all and see if they're interested in it. So I tell my assistant I created a group called Three Flags Suspects. I want you to open it up and start calling those people. Okay, so my assistant goes to groups. There it is, Three Flags Suspects, opens it up. They go to the first one, and they start calling. Alicia says, I'm not interested. Now here's the critical part. I want to take her out of the suspect group because I called her. I don't want somebody else to call her again. Easy. Just right here are groups. I just check this box and she comes out of the group. So nobody else will call her and say, are you interested in the property? And she says, you're an idiot. Oh, assistant just called me 10 minutes ago and asked me the same thing. What's wrong with you guys? Then I go up and I make a history. I called her, she wasn't interested, so that my marketing report reflects to the owner or to the seller that I called this person and they weren't interested, and I put in a reason why. Now I go to the next person. I call Alan and he says, yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Will you send me a package? There's 2 steps I need to make. Number 1, I remove him from suspects. I don't want somebody else calling him. Number 2, I add him to prospects. Now I've got 1 person in my prospect group for Three Flags Plaza, and I've got 300 in my suspect group. I go to the next one, same thing. Says I'm interested, take them out, add them in. Now I've got 2 people in my prospect group, 299 in suspects, and you get the idea. The goal is, at the end of the day, suspects has no one in it. It's completely empty, meaning that we contacted all 300 suspects, and prospects has 50 or 60 people in it, meaning that those 50 or 60 people asked for information and we start marketing to them. We then give that list back to our seller. I want to be protected on these people. These are all people that are interested, that told me to send them information. And these are the 250 people that I called, and the reason why they weren't interested. It's overpriced. It's overpriced. I don't like the area. I don't like the building. I don't have any money. It's overpriced. It's overpriced. Maybe they get the idea that the property is a little overpriced. If there's enough information in there from people saying, I'm not interested at this price, it's not worth that. So it's a helpful way to also get my seller reasonable, or my tenant reasonable, or whatever you're doing. This applies to anything that you're trying to do in real estate where you need to get a list and try to narrow it down. It also is great if you have a team of 3 or 4 people calling, because as soon as I call Andrea and remove her, she comes out of everyone else's list in my office, so nobody else has her anymore and doesn't duplicate the call. And if I'm really good, I'm creating histories as I talk to them, saying why she wasn't interested in the product, and I attach it to the project that we're selling, which is Three Flags Plaza. Okay, Jeff, I know they're probably going crazy because their phone's ringing. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. I hope it was helpful.
Thank you, Tim. As always, great stuff. If there are any questions, please put them into the question box, and we'll be glad to try to address them in the next few minutes. That was really fantastic, Tim. I love the new sell sheets and the flyers and the ability to customize them and all the formats that have been created. That really gives a powerful advantage, not just at the full property description, but the property summary level, and now with the tweaking that you're doing to the financial information pages. The packages are just beautiful. So well done. Looks like you've addressed the questions. No one's got their hand up. So let me just check one other place. Nope. Why don't we wrap up? Let everyone get back to it. Thank you for the great work, Tim. Thank you all for your time and attention and interest, and we'll look forward to sharing more with you next month. As you see, Tim's got a lot to share. The team's busy, and we've got great stuff coming, and we look forward to bringing it to you as quickly as it's ready. So it won't be the end of the month. I think week by week we have different distribution of the new updates. So look for new updates and release notes as they come out, and the guide me helpful tips as they come up. As you enter into the program, it'll let you know what's new and how to take advantage of it. So thank you once again, and have a great day.